Imagine turning your raw data into polished insights with a single elegant query. Welcome to MongoDB Aggregation Pipelines. I'm Nick Raboy from MongoDB, and we're going to see some examples on how to use MongoDB Aggregation Pipelines in your own application and some of the powerful things that they can do. Up on my screen, you'll notice that I am connected to MongoDB Atlas using MongoDB Compass. It doesn't matter for this particular example whether or not you're using MongoDB Atlas or a self-hosted MongoDB instance. Within Compass, you'll see that I am connected to an example database, and I have two collections. I have companies and people. The people's collection has 3 documents, and the company's collection has 1 document. We're going to see how to manipulate this data using complex queries known as aggregation pipelines that are still very elegant to read from a user perspective and a developer perspective. For the first part of this example, we are going to be using MongoDB Compass because it is a great way to get started with aggregation pipelines because you do have a very visual component when it comes to constructing those pipelines. However, we're going to see later in this tutorial that you can bring what you create here directly into your actual applications. So click on the Aggregations tab, and you'll see some sample data of what exists in the collection. If you have a lot of documents, not all of them are going to show here. This is just a sample, but this sample should give you enough information to go off of to make sure that your aggregation pipelines are constructed the way that you're anticipating. That's one of the good features of the Visual Builder because it helps you along the way and gives you insights in case you do make a mistake. So I'm going to start by adding a stage. So when it comes to aggregation pipelines, the thought process is that every stage of this pipeline is going to do a new step against your data. And every interaction that you do in a particular stage will be carried into the next stage so that way you can continue working with it. So we're going to start things off with a match. So a match is similar to a find operation where you are matching on some kind of range criteria or an exact match, things like that. The same kind of stuff that you would see in a find operation. So I'm going to go ahead and type in match. And I'm going to define what I want to match on. And this is going to be the same structure that you're familiar with when it comes to find operations. So for this particular match, I want to match based on the company. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say company, and I'm going to say MongoDB. Because as you can see, I have 3 documents here and they're all related to MongoDB. But if I had other companies here as well, only the MongoDB documents would be returned. And for this particular stage, you'll notice that I do once again have some sample data. And if I wanted to see all of the data here using Compass, I can say run and it would give me all of the results instead. But we're going to work with the sample data because once again, we only have 3 documents, so it's not that big of a deal. The next thing that we might want to do, well, we're going to explore different options here. So the next thing that we might want to do is, well, I have that company's collection and that company's collection has more data about my company. So it might be a good idea when it comes to querying your documents. If you're looking for people, maybe you just want to know that they're MongoDB, but in certain circumstances, you might want to know information about MongoDB in that query as well. And it may not be stored within the people document. So what we can do is we can do a lookup operation. And this is similar to a join operation if you're familiar with relational databases. So I'm going to add a stage. So this is the next stage. I'm going to take the information from the match stage and I'm going to pass it into stage 2, which is going to be our lookup stage. So for the lookup stage, we do want to pass in a few different pieces of criteria. So we're going to join from the company's collection. The local field in this particular example, so the local field being from people, we called it company. The foreign field, so this is the field that exists in the other collection being companies, because remember, we are currently in the people collection. So the foreign field in company, in this case, is going to be called name. Now you could do joins based on IDs, which in a lot of circumstances might be better. But for this particular example, I do have my company name, and that happens to match the name field within that particular collection. So we're going to use it. And we're going to define what that lookup result looks like when it comes to working with our data going forward. And in this case, maybe I want to call it company info. So what's going to happen is it's going to automatically generate a preview of what this particular stage accomplished. So once again, we still have all of the matched documents from the previous step, but this time around, now we do have a company info field. And that field is an array, just in case you have more than one result in that join operation, a many-to-many relationship or a one-to-many relationship, whatever it might be. And that's what it would look like for each of our documents. Now, each one of our documents shares the same company because of that previous step, but your results could vary depending on how you're designing your application. All right, so we have that result. However, we know that there's only ever going to be one company. And yet we have an array here. The array, once again, is in case you have multiple results that are coming back, it's always going to be an array. But we know that in this example, we never have more than one. So we're going to add another stage to this pipeline. So we're going to take all of the data from the previous step And this time around, we're going to break it up. And there's numerous ways that you could do that. One of the easier ways is just saying unwind. So unwind will flatten arrays. So we're going to say, well, what field is the array that we want to flatten? And in this case, the field is going to be company info. As far as include array index or preserve null empty arrays, we don't need those for this particular example because every single one of our people has a company name, and that means that our join is always going to return data as long as there's a match. Had I gone through the example where maybe company is non-existent in a particular document or it doesn't match, there's the option of having null instead. So we're going to remove those for now. Now you'll notice that I do have an error. So the path, even though that I provided company info, it is malformed because company info, it's treating it as a regular string right now. What we want is we want the path from a previous stage in the aggregation pipeline. So what we can do here is we can say $ company info. So it's going to take that particular field. It's going to treat it as a field rather than a string. So what happened here during the unwind is now we're working with objects. So it split it up. Now the unwind, if you did have an array in pipeline stage number 2, what would happen is, for example, let's say this Nick Raboy document had 2 items in the array. So after the unwind, our sample data set or our result set, instead of 3 documents, because that's all we have in our collection, now we'd be looking at 4 documents because the unwind is going to split up each item in the array and treat it as a separate document. So one document might say MongoDB, one document might say Microsoft, but the other fields would remain the same. But that particular example wouldn't make sense for us because we're working with just MongoDB here. So we only have 1. Now, an alternative way to doing the unwind is what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable this stage and I'm going to choose a project or an add fields. They're both going to accomplish nearly the same thing. So for this example, I'm going to say project. Now I'm taking the data not from this disabled stage, but I'm taking it from the lookup stage. And this is where I'm defining what fields I want returned. So I'm going to say maybe company info is the name of the field that I want. And this time around, I'm going to use an array element at. And using the array element at, what I can do is I can provide the field that I want to look at first. So in this case, once again, it's going to be company info. And I'm going to use array element 0. So the first result, because that's all we have. Now, if I look at the results here, I once again have an object, but I am missing a bunch of fields that we saw previously. That's because I've decided that I only wanted to include this field and the ID field by default. So what I need to do in a project is I need to define the other fields that I want returned. So here at the top, or basically anywhere, doesn't really matter. What I can say is, well, maybe I want the name, and I'm going to say 1. Or maybe what other fields do I have here? I have a title, and I have a department, and I have a salary. So I have a title 1, and I have a salary 1. So by saying 1, that means that I want to include that field. I can also say that I want to include that field by doing some kind of manipulation like I did for the company info. And if I wanted to specifically exclude a field rather than include it, that 1 would be a 0. So for example, maybe I want to exclude the default ID. So I can say 0, and that ID will be gone. So these are a few stages that might make sense in your particular pipeline because, you know what, there's often times where you will need to join data or manipulate the actual data that you would want as the output, or even the data that you want to match on. Now let's take a look at another scenario. So another scenario here, well, maybe we don't actually want to do this lookup. It's not too important for this particular example based on the data that I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove it. I'm also going to remove the unwind because I'm not working with the array data in the same fashion anymore. So I'm going to delete that stage as well. We will work with the project, but for now, I'm just going to delete it. So what we might want to do now in a realistic scenario is we might want to see what the actual spend per department is for an organization. So in this case, we're going to want to sum up the salaries as long as the department matches. Now, typically what you would want to do in this particular scenario is you would want to do some kind of group aggregation. So I already have a match. I'm matching on MongoDB, even though that my documents are only MongoDB documents right now. So the next stage that we might want to do is we might want to do a group stage. Now, in the group stage, we need to define what is the field that we're grouping on. What is the common field? Now, we could group on MongoDB as the company, but that doesn't really make sense for this particular example. Maybe if we had 12 different companies in there, we wanted to see the total salary spend for each company, yeah, maybe that would make sense. But in this example, it might make more sense to call this one the department. So the department is the field that we're going to match on. So we're going to have 2 matched on developer relations, and we're going to have 1 matched on product as far as the group goes. Now we need to do an accumulator. Now there are various accumulators that you can find inside of the MongoDB documentation. We're only going to list out one of them, and that's going to be the sum. So what we're going to say is, well, what do we want this result to be? I'm going to say I want this result to be department salaries. And for the actual accumulator, what we're going to do is we're going to say that this is going to be a sum. Now the sum is going to be based on the salary field. So I'm going to say salary. Now what you can see here is it's gone ahead and it's summed up the 2 salaries from developer relations. It's also summed up this 1 salary from product. And the ID is going to be whatever our grouped value is, so developer relations or product. So what we can do to change this data in the end is, well, we can work with a project. So I'm going to add another stage. So that's going to take the data from the previous stage, stage 2, and we're going to manipulate it further. So we're going to say project, and we're going to define how we want to change things. So in this particular example, instead of ID, I might call this one department name. Now the department name is going to be _ID with a $sign in front. Because the $sign references one of the fields. And once again, I may want to include the department salaries. So I'm going to say department salaries, and that's going to be a 1. So you can see that I made a change, but ID is still there. So let's go ahead and remove that. So we're going to say ID is going to be 0. And it doesn't really matter where I place it inside of this projection, as long as it's there. And there you go. You have department salaries and the department name. And you can do some pretty powerful things there. You can accumulate based on more than 1 value here. You could do more complex aggregations based on the ID. So maybe you wanted to group upon more than 1 field. In this case, we only grouped based on the department, but maybe you wanted to group on department as well as company. You could very easily turn this into an object. So for example, we could do something like this. So we can say department, and maybe we also want to say company. We'll get the same results because our company and our department matches based on our stage 1, which is this match criteria. But maybe we had more than 1 company and we weren't actually matching based on the company. Maybe we had 6 different companies in there. Well, we'd get the breakdown based on company as well as department. So there's cool things that you can do, and there's a lot of different aggregation pipeline stages that you can work with. Now we're going to look at improving things. We have an aggregation pipeline. We use the visual builder. We're not ready yet really to turn it into code, but we can. But before we do that, let's go ahead and run an explain on it. We want to make sure that this is running efficiently. So I'm going to click explain, and you'll notice that it is using a call scan, and it's even pointed out that there's no index available for this query. So a call scan, even though that I only have 3 documents in the collection, it's pretty fast. But if I had 100,000 documents in the collection, well, that call scan is not going to be great. So what we can do is we can go ahead and add an index here. So I'm going to click on the insight, and I'm going to say create index. And for this one, we're going to base it off of our match query. So our match is based on company, and we're going to define a sort order. It doesn't really matter, ascending or descending. It really depends on what your data needs are, but I'm going to choose ascending. There's only 3 documents. I'm going to create the index. I'm going to do another explain on this. And this time around, you'll notice that I am using an index scan, so an IX scan. And that means that it is using our company index for this particular example, and we're going to get much better performance. When it comes to your aggregation pipelines in MongoDB, it's always advisable to start with a match stage. The match stage, you can use an index on the match stage, and it'll greatly reduce the amount of documents flowing through each of the stages that follow. So if you can, and I know it's not always possible, start with a match stage and then start working with your data. All right, so we explored the builder, and you get a similar builder to this inside of MongoDB Atlas. If you're using MongoDB Atlas, you can ignore the builder altogether if you want. If you're proficient at writing MongoDB aggregation pipelines, go straight to the code or use your AI editor of choice. But we chose to do this because we're still learning. And next, we want to export it to a language. So there's 2 options here. One, if you already have the foundation in place for your language, you can just click text and you can copy this aggregation pipeline. It's an array, and this is, at least for Node.js, JavaScript, it's going to match directly. But if you're using a different language, you can say export to language. Maybe you want it to be Python, maybe you want it to be Java. It really depends. But for this one, we can choose Node because I do have a sample application ready to go. But this is the pipeline. It'll look very similar to what we just saw on that text field. But I'm going to go ahead and copy it. And I'm going to go into my editor. So I'm going to take that. I already have the array brackets, and I'm going to paste it in. You'll notice that this is our latest aggregation pipeline based on the group stage. I do have boilerplate code already in there for connecting to my cluster and defining which collections that I want to read from. And then I'm going to print out the results to the terminal. But what I can do is I can save this file, and I can say node main.js. And there you go. We have the results here. It is two separate results in this result set. The first one being the developer relations salary for MongoDB, the second being the product salaries for MongoDB. This is all fictional data, but it does match what we saw in MongoDB Compass. So you just got an introduction to MongoDB aggregation pipelines. This is an incredibly powerful feature of MongoDB for working with your data in more complex ways. It is a very readable approach to complex queries. So you are doing everything in staged blocks, anywhere from a match to a group by to a lookup to many other different possible stages. And like I said, you can do some pretty amazing things with them. Things to note, like I said, you don't have to use MongoDB Compass. You don't have to use that visual aggregation builder. You can go straight into the code. You can do it from the shell. It does not matter. But it is a very useful way to get started if you're new to pipelines, because you can see the results at each stage. The other bit of feedback that I had was, if you can, start with a match stage, because you can use an index, and go ahead and run explain on those aggregation pipelines. Make sure that you are actually using an index and not a collection scan. It didn't really matter for my example because I had 3 documents, but as your data becomes significantly large, you're not going to get the performance that you want unless you have proper indexes in place. If you like this tutorial, I encourage you to check out some of my other tutorials on indexing or development with Node.js or similar languages to help you with the next step of your journey. And if you like this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up and even leave a comment. I'd be happy to see it. Until next time, catch you on the next video.